Before I hit record on this, we started off talking about quitting jobs. That is not a harbinger of what is to come on this episode, but it is an important thing to talk about here on this episode of Aspire to Retire with Ralph Short, Tim Short, and Scott Earhart of Welcome Home Financial Partners. You can find them online, find out more about Scott, Ralph, Tim, the entire team at Welcome Home Financial Partners at welcomehomefp.com. I made it real easy for you. The link is right there in the website, the podcast description. Click it. It'll take you right there. Find out more about them, the First Friday events, set up a time to speak with them. Welcomehomefp.com. My name is Chris Vaughn. I'm not quitting. I am pleased to be joined every episode with Ralph, Tim, and Scott. Gentlemen, glad to be with you as always. How you doing?
Good. Yeah. Glad to be with you and happy that you're going to stay with us.
Exactly.
Yeah.
To work with.
I'm still here. Yeah. Whether you like it or not, I'm here for the time being. But the reason that we brought it up prior to, and the reason we keep bringing it up is because of Amazon. Employees at Amazon, they've enjoyed working part of the week at home. Just got some bad news because come January of 2025, they're going to have to give up their 2 work from home days and return to the office full-time Monday through Friday. This is not the first time Amazon has tried this. The last time they messed with work from home schedules, a lot of workers just said, you know what, actually, no. They quit and they walked out. So we'll see what happens in January. But it brings to light the question, if someone is working for a company who changes policies or something happens to the point that they want to leave, can you help them crunch the numbers and see if they're able to put a bow on their career?
Well, first and foremost, for any Amazon, I don't want anybody to walk away from their job if they don't want to. Mm-hmm. But whoever handles my wife's account with Amazon, if you could, just shut that thing down, I'd be pretty good with that. Right? I think that might ring true across this table. We talked previously in a past episode about making emotional decisions. Mm-hmm. For somebody that's in a position where they're unhappy at their job, the worst thing you can do is make an emotional decision and just walk away. Meet with a financial professional first. If you're listening to this podcast, give us a call. Come in and sit down because we have a beautiful process that is tailored specifically for you called the Retirement Roadmap, where we're going to look at all aspects of your financial life, and then we're going to look and apply those aspects to what you want out of your retirement and tell you, just through simple mathematics, can you achieve your retirement goals? Can you lead? Do you have enough money to lead the lifestyle you want to lead for an extended retirement? So can we help someone know if it's time to call it a career? Absolutely. That's what we do. And we've got a great, great tool to do it.
What I would also say is, number one, if you listen to the news these days, it's just not Amazon that's having people come back to work. There's other companies in addition to that. So anybody outside of Amazon that's doing the same thing, they're trying to figure out what to do, give us a call like Scott says. But I think the biggest thing for most people is they need to understand what it's going to look like when their paycheck stops, because that's what's going to happen if you decide to stop working at Amazon or whatever other company is out there that decides to say you got to come back into work. So at that point in time, where's the money coming from? Are you going to go find another job? If you're in your late 50s, early 60s, it might be a little bit more difficult to get a job these days, even though that everybody's clamoring for people. But believe it or not, people that are in more mature, more experienced may have more difficult job to start your paycheck again. Or are you going to start your paycheck from your retirement account? How's that going to affect you later down the road? Because guess what? Most people are going to be, if they retire at normal 65, 70 years old, they're probably going to be around for another 20 years. Mm-hmm. So that means that's almost as much time you spend in the workforce, you're going to be in retirement. So where's the money going to come from? That's what we help people to understand, because guess what? In my estimate, in my experience, your bills will not stop, and the things that you want to do is still going to cost you money no matter what age you are.
Mm-hmm. Ralph, before we let Tim ponder on this, I need to tell you how proud I am of you for how delicately you handle the people who might be a little more mature, possibly more experienced. I'm very proud of you for handling it that delicately.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, and Chris, we dealt with this in the Commonwealth of Virginia like 2 years ago when everybody was, I guess I can say it this way, was forced back into the office instead of working from home after coming out of the pandemic. So, wouldn't it be nice to know beforehand if some regulatory body changed something, whether it's your company, whether it's the government, that that you can go ahead and leave, right? So it's not now you're scattering around trying to figure out who to talk to, what your plans look like, what your investments are doing. Make sure that you're well prepared, because it's not just, a change of policy or a change of regulation, but it could also be your health. What if your health, something comes up, you have a stroke or a heart attack, right? Now you might be forced into retirement. So it's very important once you're getting close to retirement that you've got to have a plan. Now, if you're 50, if you're 55, if you're 60, depending on when you would like to leave, kind of determines when you need to start. But everybody should start at least investing when they're younger, right? But it would be really, really, really nice to know, hey, okay, well, guess what? I'm not going back to the office for 5 days a week in January. I'm going to go ahead and leave because I talked to Welcome Home Financial Partners, and I know that all my plans are set into place.
And as we've gone around the table, we focused a lot on, I want to leave my job. Retirement roadmap tells me I can. Well, that's not going to be true for everybody, right? We might crunch these numbers, and it might say that it's not time to leave. But guess what you're going to walk away with? You're going to walk away with an understanding of what you need to do to achieve that. So maybe it's not, hey, I've got to go back in January. I'm not going back in January. Maybe it's, hey, I need to go back until May or, till January of 26. But having that information can let you know what you need to do to achieve the goal of walking away from whichever company it might be.
And the other thing I would say to most people is you need to focus more on the income side of your retirement instead of the investment value that you have in your 401k, because guess what? That could go away very quickly just because of market fluctuation. Then that's going to affect you, what you can do. But even though we do have people come in and do our roadmap, we have to let them understand this is a point in time the way we see it. Things are going to change in your lifetime. At least in my lifetime, things have changed. Okay, even though that I may be a little bit more experienced than some people.
Well, the last 100 years is a long time.
Oh, geez.
That's right. But when I was 20 years old, you could not have imagined where we are today. We did not have cell phones. We did not have all the things that you do with the internet these days. Be it right or be it wrong.
Walk to school uphill both ways.
Barefooted in the snow.
Gotcha.
But just understand, things are going to change in your lifetime. Even in your retirement, your health is not going to probably stay the same. All right? And if you're trying to retire before you're age 65, you've got to take one thing into consideration that most people forget about, and it's probably one of the more expensive things that you're going to have to deal with, and that's called medical insurance costs. So those are some things that we sit down and talk to people about. When you claim Social Security, I mean, that's a big topic, and there is no right or wrong answer for that. It just depends on you and what you're trying to do. If you've got enough money saved up so that you can finance your retirement without claiming Social Security until age 70, it might make sense. So that's going to be a very larger paycheck that you're going to get from the government if the government is still having those paychecks cut.
Yeah, nobody's ever really thought about while they're accumulating how to withdraw from savings. So that's something that's often overlooked. But also most people that we see don't even have a budget, right? So if we don't know what we need to fund our lifestyle, then how is that going to be a plan? So that's first step. And a lot of people don't like going through that, so they don't want to know, how much their credit card bill is, how much they're paying in Amazon monthly or weekly or daily or whatever that looks like. So it's really important to take a look at this roadmap. Everybody's supposed to be living longer. A lot of people don't want to admit that either. And we never know when our expiration date, so to speak, is. But we've got to make sure that we have money to live, whether we pass at 60, 70, 80, 90, or 100.
I think the biggest question I would have for most people is, what is your advisor doing for you if you have an advisor? Because most of them are not going to talk to you about what your Social Security is going to look like this time, that time, or this time. They're going to talk and focus, all right, this is how much money you have. You're okay. Just had a client that came in last night. We were talking, and her husband works for a major company, and he has about $1.5 million in the 401k there. However, 90% of it's in that stock of that company. So their advisor told them, oh, you're going to be fine. Don't worry about it. You've got plenty of money. She's got about $700,000 in her retirement accounts. But she's still worried because she doesn't know what might happen because she's never been through the process that we talk about. But she said, I'm worried because when that stock goes down, what's going to happen to me? I said, very valid point. That's why we need to sit down and have a conversation.
That's why you need to begin the planning process. There is a major difference between retirement accounts and retirement plans. And the only thing that you really can count on being constant over the course of the next 10, 20, 30, however long your retirement is going to be, is change. I've mentioned my father before here on the show, and he did 23 years in the Army, went back as a civilian contractor. I don't think I've told this before, and if I do, I apologize. During his time as a civilian contractor, he was working at a base a little south of Atlanta, and they shut all those bases down. And so he still had a couple years left in his contract, and he moved up to Fort Bragg, and he was up there for a little while. And I don't remember. There was another change, another point where they had to look at it, and he was either going to get moved again. I don't really remember the reasons behind it, but he decided he was able to sit down with some financial professionals, not you guys. Didn't know you back then, so I apologize. But running the numbers and said, if you do retire a little earlier, if you put a cap on the career a little, yes, you're going to see a reduction in your pension, your second pension, but this is what it's going to look like. They ran the numbers and they found out that was what it was. He came home I think a month later because he didn't want to do it anymore. But it is all about running those numbers. If you are, if for whatever reason, if you decide maybe you don't have it in you anymore to continue working, if you have the numbers on your side and it works out, great, but you have to have those numbers run. And you may find out, as the guys pointed out, that there is still work that needs to be done. It's just not quite right. And if you tough it out for another year or two, maybe even just a couple months, it'll look like this. It'll really change the outlook. And hopefully, knowing that, having that in your back pocket will make it easier to stomach that for whatever reason. Sometimes it's taken out of our hands, be it a healthcare situation or what have you. But again, if you've got that plan in place, you'll feel a lot better knowing, as sometimes it is occasionally thrust upon you, the retirement roadmap. Maybe that roadmap begins a little earlier. Maybe you're going to deviate a little bit from it. But by having that roadmap put in place, yes, you veer off track a little bit. How do we get back to where we want to be? It starts with having that plan, having that roadmap drawn. And that begins with that complimentary time to come in and speak with the people at Welcome Home Financial Partners. You could do that by going to welcomehomefp.com, have them run the numbers. Maybe next year is the year you plan on retiring. Maybe it's still 5 years away, but there's no time like the present to really do that. Welcomehomefp.com. Links right there in the podcast description. And they look forward to speaking with you and hopefully helping you give a little more confidence as you enter into retirement. Thanks, as always, for joining us here on Aspire to Retire with Ralph Short, Tim Short, and Scott Earhart. Hope you have a great day ahead of you. Gentlemen, appreciate you taking the time. Hope you have a great day as well. And as we wrap up, I want to leave you with the final word.
Thank you, Chris. And you said it best. Sometimes people just don't have it in them anymore to work. So whether you're concerned about what your company is going to do or how long you want to continue to work, it's very important to be prepared. So let us run the numbers for you, do some of the legwork for you, and kind of see when you can retire. If not today, maybe tomorrow or near future. So give us a call, visit our website. We'd love to see you. Take care.
All content is for information purposes only. It is not intended to provide any tax or legal advice or provide the basis for any financial decision, nor is it intended to be a projection of current or future performance or indication or future results. Opinions expressed herein are solely those of Welcome Home Financial Partners and Welcome Home Wealth Advisors, LLC. The information contained in this material has been derived from sources believed to be reliable, but is not guaranteed as to accuracy and completeness and does not purport to a complete analysis of the materials discussed. All information and ideas should be discussed in detail with your individual advisor prior to the implementation. Each individual investor's situation is different, and any ideas provided may not be appropriate for your particular circumstance. Advisor services are offered by Welcome Home Wealth Advisors, LLC, a registered investment advisor in the state of Virginia. Being registered as an investment advisor does not imply a certain level of skill or training. Insurance products and services are offered through WPI Holding, Virginia Insurance License Number 138509, an affiliated company. The information contained herein should in no way be construed or interpreted as a solicitation to sell or offer to sell advisory services to any residents of any state other than the state of Virginia or where otherwise legally permitted. Welcome Home Wealth Advisors, LLC, and Welcome Home Financial Partners are not affiliated with or endorsed by the Social Security Administration or any government agency.